everybody. Welcome to the Askew Sunday School Bible class, where we will have a synopsis of the lesson for this week. The title of the lesson is Faith and Wisdom. We've been spending almost 3 months on wisdom, and I think all of us have gotten the point of what wisdom is, and yet the Bible explores it through different writers. And this week we're coming from the book of James, the first chapter, the first through the 11th verses. Before I get started, I want to say that we are all reminded to pray for the families of those who have lost loved ones through transition. I think more and more we're realizing that we transition from this physical life to our divine life, to our spiritual life, to our life back with God. That Jesus promised us when he said to us that he had prepared a mansion for us, and that when we were finished with this material life, this physical life, that he would receive us unto himself. That where he is, there we will be also. But let's remember that there are families that are grieving the loss of loved ones. I was Friday, I think, at the service for one of my very dear friends, Gwen Riddick Hyman. And then today I learned that Dusty Dewberry and also Sister Ann Hartley, a member of our church, has moved on out of this body to glory. And then on Tuesday, I think, don't quote me, look it up for yourself, but I think it's on Tuesday, we'll have a service for Lordine Perry. And there are many, many, many other families. The Dewberry family is grieving tonight the loss of Dusty Dewberry. So let us just remember to honor each other in prayer, to remember those who are sick, to remember those who are sad, to remember those who are grieving, and encourage them to know that whatever happens in their life, God is with them. Let's go to the scripture. I, James, am a slave of God and the Master Jesus, writing to the 12 tribes scattered to kingdom come, hello. Consider it a sheer gift, friends, when tests and challenges come at you from all sides. You know that under pressure, your faith life is forced into the open and shows its true colors. So don't try to get out of anything prematurely. Let it do its work so you become mature and well-developed, not deficient in any way. If you don't know what you're doing, pray to the Father. He loves to help. You'll get his help and won't be condescended to when you ask for it. Ask boldly, believingly, without a second thought. People who weary their prayers are like wind-whipped waves. Don't think you're going to get anything from the Master that way. Adrift at sea, keeping all your options open. When down and outers get a break, cheer. And when the arrogant rich are brought down to size, cheer. Prosperity is as short-lived as a wildflower, so don't ever count on it. You know that as soon as the sun rises, pouring down its scorching heat, the flower withers, its petals wilt, and before you know it, that beautiful face is a barren stem. Well, that's a picture of the prosperous life. At the very moment everyone is looking on in admiration, it fades away to nothing. And so, my dear friends, what James is encouraging us to do is to not get that upset if we're having an experience that is not what we thought we were going to have. Because what he's telling us, and what I have found out, I can tell you in my life, is that what seems like trouble is absolutely and really an opportunity for God to teach you something. What seems like prosperity can be a respite. It can be a moment of joy. But you also need to understand that prosperity, physical prosperity, material prosperity, is not the end of the thing. It is the beginning, and sometimes it is just the path that we need to get us to the other side. I remember when I received a job that I didn't ask for that job, and I was happy to have it. But if I had thought that I was special because I got a job that I didn't ask for, then I could have laid back and done no work. But it was a wonderful job, a challenging job, a job that often had me very tired when I came home. And it wasn't physical work that I did, it was emotional work. It was work to be with someone else in their trouble and to hear them and to stand outside and encourage them that they could do this or that or whatever they were seeking. I tried to help them with. And so, sometimes, we think that the only thing that we can strive for is for things to go right in our life. But just think back. What are the lessons? What are the things that have taught you the most in your life? I suggest it's the things that you had to work hardest at. Some years ago, I had worked, and I think I've shared the story with you before, but I had worked with a fellow student. He was having a problem, and we were both afraid that if he didn't get it under wraps, he was not going to move on to get his PhD, which was what he was seeking. And so we decided foolishly that we would work together. And I say foolishly because we were beginners in the work of therapy. But that we would work together, and I would be his therapist and he would be my client, and I would learn how to deal with his particular problem, and he would get through his problem so that he would be able to graduate, so that he would be able to finish the course. At the end of that time, he says to me, "Dot, I got to figure out a way to pay you." Because believe it or not, we were successful. The angels worked with us. We didn't really know what we were doing, but we worked together. We kept at it, I think, for about 10 weeks. And we were victorious. We got what we wanted. I learned what I needed to learn. I learned how to practice. And he learned what he needed to learn, which was to get over the hump. And so at the end of that time, he said to me, he said, "I've got to give you something special." And I'm thinking, well, he doesn't have any money. What can, and I'm saying, quite humbly, "Oh no, you've given me all I wanted to get out of this. Nothing else. Don't give me anything else." Well, one day after class, he comes up to me and he says, "Dot." And I said, "Yeah?" He says, "Why are you so angry?" And I went, "Angry? Angry? I'm not angry." And I knew the minute he asked me this that he had hit on something, but I wasn't ready to accept it. And no, I know what I said. I said, "I'm not an angry person." He said, "I never asked you why. If why were you an angry person?" He said, "You're right, you're not an angry person." Moving on, he says to me, he says, "Well, when you're ready to answer the question," he says, "come back to me." Well, I tell you, I asked my husband, I asked my children, I asked my neighbor, I called long distance and asked my friends, "Am I an angry person?" And everybody assured me, "No, Dad, you're one of the least angry people I know." Well, I wasn't satisfied. So I went back to him, and I said to him, I said, "Okay, you started something. Tell me what the deal is here." And he says, "Well, I've noticed sometimes that you really need to get people told, but instead you smile. He said, you know, I've noticed sometimes that people ask you to do things and you should say no, and you say yes. He said, and I've noticed that even when you expect something to happen and it doesn't, you find a way to get over it. He said, you're being a good girl. He said, but underneath our experiences, when we're disappointed, when we've been disrespected, when we have been hurt, we need to stand up to that. We need to face it. And so he gave me a book. The name of it was The Angry Book by Theodore Isaac Rubin. I recommend that you read it, okay? And you say, well, what does this have to do with faith and wisdom? It has to do with my affirmation of what James is saying, that sometimes when we are in the midst of something, we want to reject it. We want to feel better fast. But James is saying, go through it, experience it, and you will come out on the other side a blessed person, or a more blessed person. And so after I read the book, and after I got what Sir Isaac Rubin was saying, Dr. Rubin was saying about anger, you know what? Every time I felt myself getting angry, I got excited because I knew that I was going to learn something else about me. This is what James is telling us. He's saying that the challenges in our life are not against us. They are for us, to teach us. And as long as we have breath, we are going to have challenges. Something is going to happen on this journey that we call life. This journey that doesn't have an ending. This journey that is distant for us. It's a long way off. We got miles to go before we sleep. There are going to be things that happen that are not going to be to our liking. There are things that are going to happen that are going to be to our liking. And we're going to say, okay, I'm here now. I've gotten here. And everything is wonderful from this point on. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. We're here. This is education. This is school. Sometimes we're going to get a C. Sometimes we're going to get an F. Sometimes we're going to get an A. But the only purpose for those evaluations is for us to learn. I sure hope you're getting what I'm saying. I am saying to you that James is right. That there's no stopping place on the journey called Christianity. The journey that begins in the stable and ends at the cross. Someone said to me recently, says, Dorothy, you cannot possibly be doing this well with this coronavirus, not being able to go places, not being free to do your thrift shopping and stuff like this. And I told her, I said, well, I am, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I believe that whatever happens in our life is for a purpose, and it is to enhance us. I said, and I told her, I said, I've been thinking about why it's so hard for people to put their mask on, to stay home, and to stay out of crowds. And I'm thinking, America is addicted. We're addicted to our bars. We're addicted to our shopping. We're addicted to our TVs. We're addicted to everything but sitting quiet and saying, okay, Lord, teach me. Now, when we get toward wisdom, which is what James is telling us, when we get to the place where in faith we know this is going to get better. We don't believe this is going to get better. We don't think this is going to get better. We know that it is going to get better. And you know what else? We know that after this gets better, if we're still here, there's something else for us to learn. That there is no place no stopping, no getting there and everything is wonderful the rest of the way on this particular journey. But there is a way to have joy, and there is a way to have peace, and it is to know that God got this, and it's in our lives for a reason. No, God did not cause the coronavirus. Do you know what I believe caused this virus? And then the Pope said it, and I think he's right. We have this coronavirus because we have forgotten to take care of our environment. We have forgotten to take care of ourselves. We have forgotten to remember who it is that made this planet Earth. And because we have misused it, not just the physical misuse of the environment, not just the toxins in our airs, but the poisons in our mind. The poisons in our mind create poisons in our atmosphere. The poisons in our sinks and our waters and our dirt and our vegetables creates an opportunity for a virus to spread. I heard today that the restaurant industry is recognizing that they have not been paying their employees enough. That when they pay their employees $2 an hour and expect them to get the rest in tips, that is not a wage. That is not a living wage. So guess what? Maybe we've had this virus so people can learn to value each other and give value to the work that we do. I hope that's what we're going to learn here. I hope we're going to keep our children home and teach them at home and love them at home until we've passed this pandemic. I hope when November comes that we're going to vote however we can vote. If it's by telephone, it's by Facebook, if it's by mail, whatever way, we are going to enter into this political system and make a choice that is the choice for all people. And at least it will be our voice giving voice to what we believe. So, let's embrace faith this week. Let's embrace wisdom this week. How can we do it? When something comes up in our lives and we are frightened or disappointed or hurt or bored or whatever, let's remember God's got this. There's wisdom in knowing that. And then let's say, Lord, what would you have me to do with this? Teach me, Lord. I know I'm in school. Make me a good student of your word. And with that, I am going to leave you. I'm going to say goodbye. And I hope to see you again next week. It's been great for me. I hope it's been great for you. Bye-bye.